This is episode 92. Hello, everybody. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir. Don, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ryan. It's 92 episodes, so we're getting closer to that 100 mark.
Yeah, and people didn't think we'd make it past 20. But here we are, and we're still trucking along at number 92. But, Don, we had a pretty fun weekend, didn't we? You and I together did.
We did. We had a chance to experience Good Gravy, the family boomerang coaster at Holiday World. A lot of fun as just the ride itself, but it's not just a ride, it's an experience is what we found.
Yeah, it really is. But we're going to talk a whole lot more about that in the future. So we're going to save that a little bit. But one thing that I will say is that we got to take a ride on the Voyage. The Voyage is running like it's brand new, isn't it?
Best ride I've ever had on the Voyage. And I've ridden it every year that it's been in existence. And it was just roaring through the course, and it was the most enjoyable, most fun ride, most thrilling ride that I've had on it. They brought the Gravity group in, and they've done a lot of track work over the past couple of years on it, more than 3,000 feet of track, from what we understand. And after we got off that ride, very easy to understand why it's, if not the number one roller coaster in the world, it's certainly in that argument.
Yeah, it's definitely in that conversation. But why don't you remind the listeners where they can find the Attractors Group podcast?
Well, you can find it on all your favorite podcast apps. We're talking like Spotify, Apple, some of those other ones there, but also on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to the Attractors Group podcast on YouTube. And if you have any questions, after listening to the episode, be sure to, reply to us in the comments. But also be sure to follow us on X, which is the at attractions_GRP, and also follow us on Facebook.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, you know what, Don? It's starting to get a lot like summer here in the fine Midwest where we live, but there's some parks that are already thinking about October.
There are, in particular, we're looking at the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. They've released information about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party for 2024. Of all the different Disney events that I've gone to at Disney parks over the years, and we're talking, events both at, Disneyland and, the different properties in Walt Disney World, Epcot or Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, any of those different parks that have had the different, special events. The Halloween event, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people seem to carry the same opinion. Now, I have not been to Mickey's Not So Scary yet. I went to Very Merry Christmas last year, which is similar, but Christmas. And I think that we decided we're going to do the events every other year. So this year we'll do Not So Scary, and next year, I'm sorry. Yes, this year we'll do Not So Scary, and next year we'll do, the Christmas event again.
Yeah, so and the Christmas event there is fantastic, at Magic Kingdom, and it's an outstanding event. But there's just something about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party that, just makes it just a lot of fun, for the whole family. You get to see the characters, dressed up for the Halloween season. They do, different fun shows. There's the trick or treat stops and things. So it's just really a lot of fun. And, if you have an opportunity to only really visit Magic Kingdom at one time during the year, I would highly recommend going during this period when this runs.
Yeah, and so Don, you've already published an article about Mickey's Not So Scary, haven't you?
I did, this week on Theme Parks by Don, and like I said, it's May, but they're already thinking about the Halloween season. If you're staying at some of the select resorts, you can get your tickets now for this event. The rest of the world can start purchasing their tickets come May 15th. But, it may seem down the road, but really it's just around the corner.
Yeah, and this event very much does sell out rather quickly. When we were there in October, we were talking to one of the cast members. There was there's lines for everything at Disney, so we got in line just because one of the cast members that worked in a merchandise stand or something like that said that it was worth asking because every once in a while they get cancellations or whatever. So we got in line at guest services right there on Main Street USA, and much like a lot of the other parks, they had somebody that was outside that was just talking to the people in line, and he was like, "What are you here for?" And we're like, "Well, we're trying to see if it's possible to get tickets to Not So Scary for tonight." And the guy was like, "Don't waste your time waiting in line, dude." He's like, "I think we're booked at about 105% of park capacity. We're just hoping people don't show up." But so buy your tickets in advance. Yes.
Yeah, and the great thing about the way it's frustrating that they do cap it, and it does sell out. So not everybody can do it. But at the same time, in terms of the experience that it delivers, because of that cap, that they limit it, it's a great experience for everybody that attends it.
Yeah, I can attest with at least the Christmas event. Now, it's not a walk-on. The park isn't dead, but I will tell you this. It wasn't hard to find a spot for the fireworks. It wasn't hard to find a spot for the stage show, and that's something you really want to do with these things. I can't emphasize that enough. Don't spend the $100, $200, whatever it's going to be to do this to try to get shorter lines. You're not going to accomplish that, and you're going to spend way too much money. If you're going to do this, do it because you want to see the attractions line up, especially the shows and the parade and so on. But there's 5 really good reasons to be excited about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and we're going to go into them. So Don, why don't you take the first one?
Well, new costumes for Mickey and Minnie. So, you can strike a pose as Mickey and Minnie debut their dazzling neon spiderweb attire, adding an extra dose of spookiness to your meet and greet experience.
Yeah, it's really cool. I actually kind of do like when they wear the different costumes and stuff, because I think it's kind of fun. Just like when Mickey was dressed in his platinum for the 100th and all that. I think that's really fun. But moving on to number 2, more villain sightings. Keep your eyes peeled for sinister villains and ghoulish foes prowling through Magic Kingdom. The villains are more popular than ever, aren't they?
They are. I love the villains. Always have. I remember, watching all the Disney cartoons and things and different shows with my daughter. She was growing up, and she was always, Ariel and some of those characters. But for me, it was always the villains. I love them.
I could see you identifying with the villains. What's the third? What's the third thing to look forward to?
Well, we got Descend Dance Party. So it's Descend Dance Party. It's a Bust a Move at the Descend Dance Party in Tomorrowland, inspired by upcoming Disney original movie Descendants: The Rise of the Red.
Oh, that's interesting. They have the dance party on that stage that's over to the right of the castle, I guess. That's where they had it for Christmas. But kids, to me, it would be what a terrible waste of time for an expensive ticket. But kids love that stuff. And I think for Christmas, they had Anna and Elsa there, if I recall. And they were it was like having the Kardashians there. They were just wrapped around these people. But they do such a good job with this stuff. Next reason is meet Bruno Madrigal. Delve into the magic of Encanto as you meet the clairvoyant character Bruno alongside Maribel at their Casita and Fairy Tale Garden, a delightful addition to the party lineup. So I guess they're adding more IP that's relevant to the films that they have coming up.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing, staying current and, getting in front of the youngsters, what they're all watching today.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
And number 5 is and this is the big one, is the earlier start time for Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade. And so this year, the beloved parade kicks off a full hour earlier. So it's at 8:15 p.m. instead of 9:15. It makes it perfect for families with the little ones eager to join in the spooky fun. So the kids aren't as tired out as they would get to be when it got to be 9:15, and depending on when the parade got to you, it could be 9:45 or whatever. So I really like the fact that they moved it up an hour.
I do too. And Florida gets darker more quickly than it does here. And that time of year, I think there's going to be no problem whatsoever as far as it not being dark enough or whatever. Because that was my first thought when I read this. But yeah, I think that's a good move. And if we've learned anything, it's that parades keep people around and then kick people out. So if you do want those night rides, it might be a better possibility with the parade being an hour earlier. But there's going to be some returning favorites, including Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular fireworks show hosted by Jack Skellington, the enchanting Hocus Pocus Spelltacular, that's a stage show, thrilling trick-or-treating adventures throughout the park. From what I understand, you get like atrocious amounts of candy.
Oh, you do. I mean, you just load up. I mean, it is, like I said, if you talk about different Halloween events around the country, I mean, this one is really, really well done. And you walk out and you got a bag full of candy. We're not talking the little tiny pieces. I mean, there's nice size pieces of candy that you get in your bag.
Yeah. Now you and I were talking about this off camera, but the Hocus Pocus show, that's one of the things that's I really want to see. That's very much a staple for this thing. But Hocus Pocus was a movie that was hugely popular when I was little, so it's very nostalgic for me.
Yeah, they got the Sanderson sisters and just a lot of fun. Everybody crowds around the stage, for that one. But it's a can't miss show. You have to definitely see that.
That was for the Christmas party. The stage show in front of the stage was my favorite part, because they like all these characters kept on showing up, including the what is the Tres Amigos, or what's the show in the Mexican pavilion with Donald? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
Yeah, but those guys showed up, and it's like that's the most random. That's the most random characters you can have show up.
Yeah, but the Hocus Pocus villain Spelltacular. I mean, you can't miss that. If there's anything, that you definitely, if you can only do one thing, watch that show and get your candy.
And get your candy, exactly. So there's going to be some Halloween-themed twists on popular attractions like Monsters, Inc., Laugh Floor, Space Mountain, and Mad Tea Party. So Space Mountain, I believe, is completely in the dark. That's their thing with this. So I've heard awesome things about that. Mad Tea Party for Christmas had like lights and stuff going all over the place. So that was really cool. And I imagine it's something similar. Laugh Floor, probably, what does it have? Like a Halloween overlay, I'm guessing. I've never done Laugh Floor.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, dude, it's a little bit of a Halloween overlay there, and and then they kind of put a little twist on Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, so couldn't recommend it more. So this hauntingly delightful event kicks off on August 9th and runs through October 31st. August 9th, by the way, there's a good chance it's going to be 100 degrees that day and you're going to be doing Halloween stuff. But it starts earlier and earlier with these guys.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the earliest I've ever seen a Halloween event start is August 9th. So it's starting a little bit earlier. Tickets available, like we mentioned, now for select resort guests, and then on May 15th for all others. But don't forget, too, you can indulge your sweet tooth with some delectable treats from the Disney's Not So Spectacular dessert party.
Mm-hmm.
So this offers prime fireworks viewing and tantalizing desserts. So if you're gonna get tickets to the event, go one step further and get this.
Yeah, I mean, I did the Fantasmic one, and it was worth it just to not have to wait to get into the pavilion. It was like an extra. We did Hollywood and Vine, plus that was like $77 each. I have no idea how much this is going to cost, but just the stress of not having to find a spot for Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular via being able to eat at the Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular dessert party. Great value in that. It is very expensive. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. No pun intended. But as far as being able to get some unique foods and stuff like that, as well as not having to have the stress of, finding the perfect spot or whatever, because you get a really good viewing angle.
Yeah, the value's there with it. And, like I mentioned, this is my favorite event that they do. And it's just adorable when you see the characters, Mickey and Donald and the rest of them all, dressed up for Halloween. So you want to make sure that your phone is charged up, because just plenty of photo opportunities that you don't want to miss, not only of the characters, but also of the parade.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So elsewhere in Halloween news in Central Florida, Howl-O-Scream, that's going to make its return. So again, it's all of Central Florida that's preparing for Halloween, except for Universal, which has not made their announcement for Horror Nights.
And they usually have by now, haven't they?
They usually have, but since they're doing the Epic Universe stuff, I'm guessing that's what's pushing it back. So it's very interesting. It's almost like the lesser, well, I don't want to say the lesser of two evils. I mean that, but opposite, where it's awesome to find out this Epic Universe stuff, but I mean, I plan on going to Horror Nights, maybe even the opening weekend, so I kind of need to know what's going on, But yeah, Howl-O-Scream's returning to Busch Gardens and SeaWorld. So they've actually got some really good ticket deals right now.
They do. So if you're dying for that great deal, now's the time to snatch the tickets.
Yeah, $38.99 for 2 tickets, minimum purchase of 2 tickets. And it can be used at any Howl-O-Scream event with no blackout dates, which is really nice.
Yeah, well, you got to do it in pairs, because the bbest scares, they happen in pairs.
The best scares happen.
Yeah, so you want in pairs, right? So you want to get, take advantage of this deal. That's a great deal. $38.99. Howl-O-Scream did the one at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, very similar to the one at Busch Gardens in Tampa. Phenomenal event. As you mentioned, SeaWorld Orlando also, part of this ticket deal. But also, if you live in San Diego and want to go to SeaWorld there too, they're also offering the same deal.
Perfect. Yeah, so there's going to be all new horrors and thrills awaiting the guests, including a new haunted house, new stage show, and nods to past icons. When Howl-O-Scream at Busch Gardens Tampa returns, select nights, September 6th through November 2nd. September 6th is a reasonable date, by the way, to start Halloween.
That is more in line of what you see, because I know that the one at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, I think I went last year on September 8th. So it was like right after Labor Day they got started. But that's, it's a little early, to start it. We were August 9th. They were, starting it with the Magic Kingdom with the Mickey event. But, I think what Busch Gardens is doing, SeaWorld, that's an event that you want to check out as well, because, my own experience with it at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and other people that I know that live in Central Florida, and they've gone to SeaWorld or they've gone to Busch Gardens event, they rave about it. So if you're a fan of the Halloween season, that's the perfect time to go then, maybe in September, and try to do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, and also do the Gardens or Busch Gardens event.
Yeah, absolutely.
At Busch Gardens or SeaWorld.
Yeah. Tickets can be purchased online at howloscreamtampa.com. So Howl-O-Scream events are at SeaWorld Orlando and San Diego. And they're also participating in this deal along with the Busch Gardens parks.
Yeah, but it's hard to believe we're talking about Halloween. We haven't even got to Memorial Day yet. But here you and I are talking about Halloween. I'm writing about it on my blog and things like that. So, it's not the same world that you and I grew up in, is it?
You're part of the problem, Don. You're part of the problem. All right, cool. Yeah, so Halloween coming up before you know it, only like 7 months away or whatever as of this recording. But stay tuned. We got the Pick 6 coming up next.